Let me tell you about a little story that will not only cleanse your palate, but remind your facial muscles how to smile when watching a movie. A film that is not undercooked, a film that doesn't lack stakes or compelling characters, and definitely doesn't have a bloated budget of over $200 million, but looks like it was shot for 30. A story that will revitalize warm memories of when movies did more than just distract you from the mundane or enrage you over incompetent execution of good ideas or characters. That movie is The Family Plan. Produced by Skydance, it is a great reminder of what movies are supposed to be. Mark Wahlberg plays Dan Morgan, a used car salesman and family man who has built a perfect life. He's a genuinely humble guy with an eye for detail and a mind like a steel trap. He has a great relationship with his wife, loves being a dad, even when his older kids scoff at his ideas, jokes, and dad lectures. Aside from his daughter being brainwashed by her boyfriend, a know-nothing ideologue, and his son who is so isolated he doesn't have any local friends, Dan is loving his situation every day. That is until he and his wife accidentally find themselves in the background of some kids posting a selfie on social media. The next day, Dan's perfect life is thrown for a loop when he's attacked by an assassin while at the supermarket, and we get a taste of Dan's former life as an assassin himself and learn that his old boss wants revenge for leaving the business. With limited time before more assassins surround him, Dan decides to surprise his family with a road trip to Las Vegas where he will hook up with an old colleague that will provide him and his family new identities. That is, if they'll still want him around once they learn of his secret past. The Family Plan sounds like a very formulaic movie, and in the broad sense of the word, it is. It is also done incredibly well, so you don't mind the formula, and the story is both written and directed well enough that they expertly provide you a setup with a better payoff than what they were originally telegraphing. Each character in Dan's family has their own thing going on, and their conflicts are not convoluted despite touching on cliché tropes. Take Dan's daughter, Nina. She has desires to become a journalist until she started dating a college freshman who filled her head with unrefined, hollow assumptions about society and the world, so much so that it drives her mother nuts. All Dan can do is listen to her and try to remind Nina the type of young woman she was before dating a guy no one in the family really likes. Then there is his son Kyle, a dorky kid who doesn't really want to spend time with anyone. All Dan wants to do is help his son get a social life that isn't localized to video games and return to playing a father and son game of catch in the backyard. The only genuine fun he has with his children is with his youngest, Max, who Dan takes almost everywhere and has mastered diaper changing like it was a sport. Then there is Dan's wife, Jessica, a former decathlon athlete who after an injury in college became a physical therapist. As much as she loves her career and Dan, she falls into the cliche of wanting more out of life, wanting to travel, see the world, and a little excitement and spontaneity. The sweet aspect of her wants is that she wants all those things with her husband, Dan. It is quite refreshing to see a couple that has their issues but not for a lack of love, but instead because of love. The only danger looming over this family is Dan's secret, which, until his face made it onto social media, was a non-issue. Writer Dave Coggeshall really elevated an old idea. He kept the pacing consistent and managed to put in enough energy that you don't feel like you watched a nearly 2-hour action comedy film. This type of movie has an incredibly familiar plot, but why I enjoy it has to do with the writer elevating the concept beyond the basics. We're not getting a lazy story here. The action set pieces are paced well, and the problems that Dan has to solve in order to protect his family and keep his secret are quite inventive. While there are definitely obvious setups to an audience with a keen eye, there are also some great surprises. Each character's motivations are crystal clear and empathetic. At no point are you confused about what is going on in the story, nor do you feel like you're being spoon-fed exposition. Each subplot introduced arrives at a satisfying conclusion, and even has moments that get close enough to tug on the heartstrings as well. I especially like how Coggeshall takes the trope of the regretful spouse, but doesn't make her resentful. It shows a level of authenticity to her situation. Sometimes it's okay to think what if and not be disappointed by what you have. While I don't think this movie is going to make massive waves with people, it is a movie that has a lot of thought and care for the characters in this story, and I think that will resonate strongly with audiences. Regardless of that fact, I still think this film is worth talking about and encourage you to give it a watch if you're looking for something that feels good, has fun, some genuine laughs, and a lot of heart. It is a sweet, simple film about family with an appropriate PG-13 rating. If this video hasn't encouraged you to see it yet, then allow me to share an example that will have you convinced.
Why you're so weird about social media, you're so anti-technology.
Well, with facial recognition software, I had no choice. Plus, I really do think that social media is fundamentally disgusting and gross.
God.
Go check out The Family Plan. It's a script doctor prescription.